Hi everyone, today I'm trying something new. I'm trying to stream on several platforms at once using a service called restream.io. So apparently it's already connected to livecoding.tv and YouTube events, which I had never tried before, so let's see how it goes. And it's still connecting to Twitch. Okay, so I'm seeing the status here on this page. So let's see what's going on from there. Just before we start, technical details. Okay. Apparently it is actually streaming, so we should be good to go. I'm gonna switch to my favorite layout, which is the web browser in one virtual screen and my development environment on my main screen. And I can chat with you from there. So if you have any question during my live coding session, feel free to post them there, and I will try to reply timely. Okay. So everything's online. I'm going to close that because I don't want to eat too much bandwidth. Okay. So far so good. Okay, I'm sharing. Someone shared a link to my old rock band, which is not at all related to that. But anyways, thank you for the thought. Um, as I already shared with you in the chat here and here on live coding and Twitch, I sent you a URL that displays what I'm going to do today. So the first step we did it during the last live coding session, which was to reinstall the plugin VS Code spellchecker to make sure that it works properly on my copy of Visual Studio Code. So this is Visual Studio Code. So it's a nice editor based on Atom for those who don't know it. It looks like Sublime Text a lot. Okay, so we successfully found out that it was working well, except it didn't support the French language, which is a problem for me and probably for other people who need to create Markdown documents in French, right? So what we're gonna do today is reuse an extension for Visual Studio Code that was made by this unpronounceable name here on GitHub, which are already forked here on GitHub. We are gonna clone that on my hard disk and then try to debug it with the procedure that was given by the author of this extension. Because apparently we don't need to install the extension into Visual Studio Code in order to test it. You just have to open the repository that contains the source code of this extension, and then you just press F5 to debug it immediately from Visual Studio Code. So we're gonna try to do that today. So my first step is gonna be to clone my fork of this package, of this extension. So I'm gonna use the clone URL here, and from my terminal I'm gonna clone it. So that's it. It was pretty fast. So that's all the files we get from there. Just in case you were not present on the last live coding sessions, if you go to the languages directory, you see all the dictionaries that are currently supported by the extension. That's the place where I need to plug the French language dictionaries, okay? But the first thing we're gonna do is open that directory with Visual Studio Code to make sure that it works in debug mode, okay? So this is the directory that I just cloned from my repository. So I'm gonna just drag and drop on Visual Studio Code and see what happens, okay? So far so good. You see here the package description. And now I'm gonna try the trick, which is to F5. Oh, okay, I forgot something important. Sorry about that. In order for the extension to work, we need to, like in every Node.js project or most JavaScript project, we need to install the dependencies. For that, we're going to use npm, which is a Node.js package manager. So this is going to fetch all the dependencies of the project, download them into the project directory. Because of course we don't need to keep all the dependencies in the GitHub repository. So it seems to be going okay. A few warnings, but nothing important for us. Okay. Then there's a second thing I need to do because this extension was written in TypeScript, which is a different language than JavaScript that uses types and stuff like that. So we need to compile it into actual JavaScript. In order to do that, we're going to use npm commands, which are defined in the package.json file that is behind. And we see that in this package we have a post-install script that was almost automatically run when I install the dependencies, so we don't need to care about that. And here there is a compile mode here, I see, so I can use npm run compile, and this is gonna build the JavaScript output for the project. As you can see, a new directory was created here named out, containing compile JavaScript files. And I guess that what's gonna be used when I switch to debug mode, what I'm going to do right now. So function F5, let's see what happens. Okay, apparently it's starting a new instance of Visual Studio. So what I'm gonna do is check whether or not the extension, oh, I don't need to do that. The extensions are here. Okay, it's not showing up here, but let's create a document, okay? Let's create something on my desktop. It's gonna be called french.md. So this is a markdown file, so normally I should be able to write stuff and save it. And when the extension is working, I should be able to see spell checks here. So far, the extension is not triggering for some reason, okay? So I'm gonna activate breakpoint for all exceptions, meaning that anytime something will happen, I want to be notified, okay? Something bad, I mean. Let's see why it's not. Maybe I need to install it. I don't know. Extensions. Um, so that's the official extensions that are downloaded from the website, but I would like to see my local copy of the extension here, which I don't see so far. So this is complicated, okay? Because of course, if I install this, let's spell check here. Okay, I need to reload the window here, and normally, oh, I just don't get it. Installing the extensions, disabled, recommended. So if any of you has an idea of how to I'm gonna keep running that even though we got an extension here. The weird thing is that I was hoping to get some logs to display potential errors. What I'm gonna do is to uninstall this because obviously that's not the right version that we want, okay? I'm gonna just uninstall this, then quit this test instance, and then I'm gonna go back to what the author says, okay? So he said that I need to run npm install. I did it. So this was done as well. Open the repository in VS Code. That was done. And then press F5 to debug the extension. A new editor will open, the local spellchecker extension enabled. So this didn't work, okay? Here's how you can get more detailed information. Apparently we can open that file and enable debug output. So I'm gonna try to do that. I'm not sure which window is open right now. Yeah. So let's go to that file. Okay. Let me just interrupt the notifications. So here is a debug setting, and it's set to false. I'm gonna set it to true. And normally, if I go back to my terminal here, yeah, file change detected, compilation. Okay. So let's try this again. I'm gonna close everything and start from scratch, just to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. So if I open code again, and I open okay, this is the project, right? So if I press F5 again, let's see what happens. So starting a new, oh, this is pain. Let me remove that for a second because so apparently we have a problem here. It's apparently looking for a module. But the disturbing thing is that here we have a debug command that was supposed to be executed, but I don't see any log. Maybe it's showing up from there, but I don't think so. Okay. So we have a debug console here, which I just disabled. This is the host. And from view, debug, where is it? Show open editors. This is to edit two files, or more than that actually. Close or close. Okay. Let's see if we can Output. No, that's not exactly what I want. Extensions, there's nothing there. Tasks, TypeScript. Not really that I wanted. Problems, no problem. Debug console, that's what I used to have before, okay? And then integrated terminal, I'm not gonna use that. Okay, can I use maybe module not found, spell checker? Let's see that. Because yeah, we're in debug mode, so all the variables that are in the current scope can be checked from here, okay? So we see that the unspell spec checker was not found for some reason. And that could be the cause why the debug mode of this extension doesn't work so far. So let's see, this module is in path 1000. This doesn't make sense. Okay, I guess that it's looking from somewhere. Okay, look at that. There is nothing in lib. The unspell spec checker is not installed. Okay, so let's quit that. Okay, I'm gonna try another thing that I didn't try this time. Is to run VS Code pre-publish. Doing the same as the compile option, but oh, apparently Bill Gates is talking to me. Hi, Bill Gates. Hope you're doing well. So just did that. Just want to make sure that npm installs the spell checker dependency. Okay, detected. Okay, okay, it's installing nothing more. So, all right. And if I go to lib, I see nothing in there. This is really weird. Okay, let's check if I can find something to download. Oh my god, so many. Oh no, there's something else I can do is go to the original repository and search from there. Because it could be that someone else got the same problem. Ah, look, it's gonna be my topic again. Otherwise, I can retry just from the beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the previous spell checker. I'm gonna rename it to Adrian spell checker, just in case. And then I'm gonna git clone the original repository from there to make sure that I can really install it. Okay, so back to VS Code, we need to reinstall the dependencies, and we're gonna watch if it's going to install the lib directory here or not. Okay. Another thing I could do is check during my last session I was able to use the extension that way, so I want to make sure that yeah, it was also empty for some reason. It's important to know that maybe this problem is not the cause of why the plugin is not working. Maybe I'm not able to debug an extension properly from Visual Studio Code. But you know, I want to find out. So let's see what we got here. Okay, let's try to. I'm gonna copy paste everything so that I can provide a log, so that the author of the extension can find what's going on. Oh, this is painful. Okay, let's do. Okay, so this is the log of what I tried to do. Okay, I'm gonna keep that fresh install dot log. So now what I'm gonna do is look for the handspell library, and it's not showing up here. Okay, so apparently this should not be installed by the npm script, because normally when you do npm I, it's gonna install all the things here in node modules. But maybe the handspell was installed in that directory. Let's check. Oh, should I do this? Oops, sorry. H. Okay, nothing looks like handspell. So what I'm gonna do is try to take this and install it manually. I'm not sure if it's gonna solve anything, but you know. So I guess this is the module that can read the dictionaries and check the spelling, right? What API are you using, Bill Gates? Visual Studio, I guess. So I'm using a module that is called Enhanced Spell Checker that allows to use the dictionary offline. So apparently we got it installed from there. So if I go to H, where is the spell checker? Oh, this is okay. This is the old version of it. Sorry, I'm confused here. Node module. So that's the actual thing. I'm really confused of the way to find. Well, here it is. So we got the Handspell spec checker, and now we got the things we were looking for. So what I'm gonna do is a bit hackish, but you know, I don't want to edit any code that far. I'm gonna just put all the files in this directory, because apparently that's where the extension loads the stuff from. This is really irritating. Okay. So now what I need to do, npm run compile, in order to compile the TypeScript into real JavaScript. So we are done. And now what I'm gonna do is open this directory, the project directory, into Visual Studio Code. And we're gonna try again to debug it. So F5. Let's see what happens. Okay, so far so good. Extensions Okay, I see extensions, but I still don't see this one. So I'm gonna enable all exceptions so that I know if anything doesn't work as expected. Look at that. Okay, this is normal, I guess. And I'm gonna enable the debug commands as specified here. Spellchecker provider here. And I'm gonna set the debug boolean to true. Okay. So let's try it again. I have only one Visual Studio Code open, window open. I'm gonna host a new one. Okay, here we go. Do we get an exception so far? I don't think so. Spell checker now active. Oh, we get some progress. Configuration file not found. Plain text, plain text, plain text. Okay. What about this one? So apparently, let's try to create a project. I'm gonna call it sample. And from there, I'm gonna open that sample. I hope that it didn't break anything. Oh. Extension host did not start in 10 seconds. Okay, let's stop it and start it again. Look at that. Spellchecker.json. Okay, keep running. This is not fatal error because the configuration file is not needed. By default, it's gonna switch to English. So I pressed the play button to continue debugging the app. Okay. So now I'm gonna switch to the development window, and we're gonna open a new document here, and I'm gonna try to write some text and save it as a text file and see what happens. Look, okay, this is working now. See? Perfect. So now what I'm gonna do is stop this and use the files I had found. If you look in the history here, I had found a French dictionary there. Okay, I included a link in the discussion. So, and I had renamed the files here. .aff and dic files into frfr files so that they match the names that are used in the extension. And this file I stored them here on my hard drive already, so I'm gonna just paste it in the languages directory here. Okay, so now we got the files that were already present when installing the extension, and I just added the French versions of these dictionaries here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is provide a dictionary, a configuration files to explain that I want to open the French language by default. In order to do that, yeah, I need to create that configuration file. Okay, spellchecker.json, which I already did in a previous project, but I think I deleted it. Sample. Yes, I did. So I'm gonna recreate one from the official documentation. .json example. Yes, and I'm gonna use the raw version here. This is not really raw. Okay, let's use that. It's gonna be okay. So now from my hosted window, which I'm gonna need to restart, I'm gonna create a new file here and store it in the directory that contains english.txt. Create a folder in there called VS Code. Okay, let's call it like this for now. And this is gonna be, how was it called? Spellchecker.json. Okay. And now I'm gonna rename that because I think it needs a dot here. Yeah, .vs code. So I'm gonna rename that. That's it. So delete, load it. Let's stop it and retry it from there. Stop and start. Oh, no, never mind. So normally, okay, I need to press play again. Yeah, it's still triggering here, okay? So that's good. So now what we're gonna do is change the language to use French instead. And look what happened here. I see some refreshes. So let's see. Hmm. Ah, no, it's still, as you can see, it's still working in English, so it's not what we want. Maybe it's confused because I changed the language without restarting anything. So what I'm gonna do is close the host and reopen it from there. Yes. Yeah, look. It's suggesting a French word. I think we're good to go now. I think we're good. So let's see. I'm gonna introduce myself in French. Bonjour, je m'appelle Adrien et j'aime développer. let's imagine that I'm bad at spelling. I'm saving that as a file, Command S. So this is, oh, look at that. Yeah, this is weird. So it's actually working like for nouns like monde, which means world. It's working, meaning that if I correct it, it's gonna be okay. But it's not working for when you use an article like this for some reason. So maybe I need to find another dictionary. But it's already a good start, you know, because it's working, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to make it work on my fork. Let me see. Or no, I'm gonna do a pull request from the original repository here. Okay. So can I do it from here? Not sure. Okay, let's do it from there. Pull request, new pull request. Okay. Yeah, I need to push it to another branch, so it's not gonna work that way. So I definitely need to use my fork instead. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheat in a way, because the one that I forked is from the original repository here. So what I'm gonna do is pretend that I've been working on my own all along, because it's a perfect fork from the original repository. So what I'm doing right now is from my local repository, I'm disconnecting it from the original repository online, and I'm going to recreate my repository origin that will lead to my fork here. Okay, so let's try that. So now if I display my remotes, it's gonna be on my GitHub account. Okay, so let's see what we changed. Basically we just added the French dictionaries. But there's another thing that we added and that was not taken into account here is the lib directory, because I did add a lot of stuff from there. Because I guess that if I remove that, if I rename it, it's not gonna work again. Let's check that before doing anything. So stop. Do I need to recompile? Maybe. Yep. So let's launch it again. So we are still getting the error here, okay? Because it's looking for a module in lib unspell spellchecker, right? So what I'm gonna do is find where this module is loaded from. Hopefully. Look at that. Yeah, that's not the way I would have done it. I would have just... That's... If it's an npm module, you should be able to just do that. See? Let's try this. Stop and restart. So I see some progress down there. Yeah, it's working now. See? So Actually, we didn't need to add this directory here. We can even remove the lib directory, I guess. We don't need that. So let's see. There's two things I need to check before doing a pull request. Sorry. The first one is to make sure that the unspell dictionary is really part of the dependencies. So, and apparently it's not. It's not. So I'm gonna add it. You remember earlier I installed it by using npm I unspell spellchecker. Okay, this installed the module, but it didn't add it to the extension. Okay, meaning that if I want to add it, I need to use the save option, and you'll see what difference it makes. So normally it didn't change anything because I had it already installed, but if I do a git status here, you'll see that the package.json file changed, right? Also, I deleted that because I don't need it anymore. So let's see what changed in our package.json file. Here it added a new line with a version number for this module that we're gonna need. I just want to make sure that it's still working, and I want to remove the debug setting here. Okay, so I'm gonna rerun. Oh, sorry, I need to. Oops, I need to recompile first. Okay. Yes. Now let's play again. So is it still gonna be working? Yes. Still working. We good. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is two pull requests. The first one is to fix the unspell problem, and then I'm gonna do a second pull request that will just add a French dictionary. So in order to do that properly, I'm gonna use a piece of software that I really like from Atlassian, which is called Source3, and I'm gonna add this repository to Source3. Oh. Okay, apparently it's not using the right conventions. Normally a package.json, or in my opinion, is using two space indents. So when I added the save option, it just added that line, but in reality it changed the whole file, okay? Because we don't use the same indentation conventions. So what I'm gonna do is just copy and paste this line and put it back to the original version of this file, okay? So in order to switch back to the original version, I'm gonna use git checkout --, package.json, so that just that file switches back to the original version. As you can see in the original version, the indents are 4 spaces long. So I'm gonna just inject my dependency here. I'm gonna put it here. Yes, that's it. So when I go back to source3, I see that it's much cleaner. I'm just changing one line in the file. I prefer it that way. And I'm going to remove this directory, subproject. Oh, okay. I get it now. Okay, he may not like that change very much because he's using a subproject, but I'm gonna go on anyway. Hmm. because that's one way of doing things, what I'm gonna do is create a branch here, okay? So git checkout -b for new branch, and I'm gonna call it I don't know, unspell, npm unspell. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna commit these changes only on that branch. Make unspell an npm dependency instead of submodule. But because I don't want to make a mess out of this project and I want to learn about submodules, which I'm not used to, I'm gonna just roll back to the main master branch, which is no different to the original repository, except it contains the French language files. And what I'm gonna do is install the submodule that was supposed to be in the lib unspell directory. And because I've never done that before, I'm gonna just learn about it. Look at that. Yes. So as you can see, what happens here is that it's looking for, how do you call that? Descriptions of Git submodules that need to be installed for this extension to work. So this command will just git clone all the repositories that are dependencies for this Git repository. What I'm gonna do is change the package.json to mention that we need to do that. Okay, so post install, of course, we need to do whatever this is. I don't know, but first, before doing that, I'm gonna do a pre-install that unspell. Okay, so that if other people like me try to fork this repository and want to install it, they don't have anything else to do. As soon as they do npm I, like I did at the beginning of this session, it will first get the submodules right, so we don't run into these kind of errors that we did. So that's gonna be a small contribution to start with. And I'm gonna make sure that it works. So what I'm gonna do is delete all this and delete the node modules and try it, like if I just clone the repository from nothing. So npm I, and let's see what happens. I'm a bit confused because I see that it's already installing all this and it didn't run my pre-install thing here. I just want to make sure that this is an actual hook because I'm not used to that. Okay, apparently the pre-install is done after installing the dependencies. Yeah, and then it's doing the post-install, which is a bit weird, you know, it doesn't make sense, but it does it anyway, so I'm good for that. Let's see if we got uh, okay, let's try it. Let's try to push it and clone it again. We'll make sure it works. Install handspell on npm I submodule. Okay, so now I'm gonna push this to my repository, and I'm gonna try to I need to close that first and to go back there. Yeah, so I'm gonna rename that prev VS Code spell checker, and then I'm gonna do a git clone from my repository. So now if I do npmi, so the new repository is here, lib handspell is still empty that far. So now it's working. Look. So now if I do a compile, yeah, and run it from there in Visual Studio Code here. So that's my fork, okay? With the change I made in package.json, I'm gonna run it in debug using F5 key. Oh yeah, it's probably, yeah, it's yelling because in this copy I didn't install yet the French files. So I'm gonna just do it. That's it. Let's restart. Yep, working. So I'm gonna keep a screenshot of that to illustrate my pull request. Sorry. Um, let's give reference to the source of these files here. Okay, no. Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is a proper pull request from my repository, which hopefully was updated. Look, yeah. In order to do that, I'm using GitHub user interface here. New pull request, base fork. Yes. So it's comparing the original repository to mine, to the fork. And I see all the commits that I done. And now what I'm gonna do is provide the description for my changes, comparing changes, okay. And I'm gonna give a reference to this topic. Okay, I think this is good enough descripted. So I'm gonna go on and create the pull request. And normally, if I go back to the topic here, to the issue, yeah, you see that I referenced this issue in this pull request. So this worked, and this is done as well. So what I hope now is that the author of this extension will give me a hand to find another dictionary or another way to properly process these kind of words. And then we'll see if we integrate it in his repository or if I'm gonna do another extension. I'm not sure yet, but I'm pretty happy that we found a way to make it work and to extend this extension, and most importantly to actually develop a Visual Studio Code extension, which I've never done before. So I'm happy to have learned about that, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. Just a quick word before closing this session. Um, I love coding and I love sharing my work like this on side projects. And I love you when you are involved in this as well. So if you want to get involved and select the next topics for the next live coding sessions, I invite you to check out my Patreon page, which is shown on the top right corner of the screen. And maybe if you really want to get involved, become my patron, meaning that you will give me a monthly donation to support my work, and that will give you the possibility to vote on the next topics. Thank you very much for watching. I can't wait to read your feedback on this, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.